Hi everybody, it's Christina from cardmakingmagic.com, and this tutorial is going to show you how to make paper flowers to put on your cards. With this tutorial you'll always be able to make flowers that match your cards because you'll use the papers that are incorporated into the card in the first place. So to start with, we need 4 pieces of paper. The first piece is 9 centimetres by 9 centimetres. This one is a 7 centimetre square. The third one is a 5 centimetre square, and then we need a small piece to make the middle of the flower. So with the largest piece, you're going to fold it in half and then fold it into quarters. Give it a nice firm crease, and then we need to fold it corner to corner, and again give it a nice firm crease. Then with your scissors, if you take the closed point towards you and keep the open edges to your right, you're going to cut a petal shape out of the paper. Come down towards the point and cut it off. Now when you open the fold up, you now have the first part to your flower. So you're going to do exactly the same with 3 of the pieces. Leave the middle one out for the time being. When you're cutting out your flowers, don't cut all the way down to the point, otherwise your petals will all just fall to pieces and you need to keep them joined. So this is the third part, and we now open it out and we have another petal to the flower. Now the smallest piece can be folded in exactly the same way, which will produce obviously the smaller centre, but if you have a small retro punch, then you can perhaps just punch out the centre of the flower and use it that way, and that will just make a small centre. Or you can finish off with a brad in the centre, or even buttons. The choice is yours. The next part is to ink the edges of your flowers, and all I'm using is an offcut of acetate sheeting to protect the top. And if you take your ink pad and just blot it into the corner of your mat, and all I'm using is a new bath sponge that's been cut into small pieces, and if you dab your pad onto the ink and just drag it in to the edges of your flowers, it just finishes the edges off. It gives a little more definition to the flower, and you're going to do that around all the pieces. So to give some definition to the petals, all I'm using is a mouse mat the wrong way around, so that we have the spongy side to the top, and an embossing tool. And if you put the petals onto the mat and just use your embossing tool to go around the centre of the flowers, you can see that they're now starting to curl upwards, and that'll give some shape to your flower. If you do all the petals the same, and when you get to your last piece, your central piece, if you've used the smaller one that you've cut yourself or you've punched one, it's still the same process. You still need to go around and curl the petals so that you have definition. So we're now going to give a little bit more definition to the petals, and all I'm using is a bone folder, or you can just curl it with your fingers, but you're just going to curl the edges to the petals so that they now curl downwards. And it's a very simple process, and as I say, you can do it with just your fingers if you wish. Just give it a nice little flick to curl the petals. Now once you've done this, you can now start to assemble your flower. So I'm just using a pin flare glue, and if you glue the back of the second piece and stick it onto your first piece, then glue the back of your third piece and stick it onto the second piece. If you intersperse the petals, you get a nice design. Now of the 2 last pieces, I'm going to use the little retro punched one and just glue it into place into the centre. And to finish mine off, I'm going to use a paper flower, and I'm just going to cut the stem off the back of it, and again a little bit of pin flare glue and blob it, just stick it into the middle of your flower. And now you can just leave that to dry. Once your flower's dried, you can then decorate it as you wish. You can add glitter or some gemstones. This one is the finished card, and on this one I've just added a little bit of glitter on some of the petals. The centre of this one's been finished with a button and some ribbon and a charm. You can decorate yours any way you wish. Now the small flowers at the top of the card I've just finished with the retro punch, and all I've done is punched out several flowers. I've added glitter to the petals, and in the middle I've added a little gemstone to each of the flowers. And if you just fluff up the leaves, it just gives a little bit of definition to the card, and there's your finished creation.